Hello everyone, it's Anita, and in today's video I'm going to tell you how I almost failed my degree. And I'm actually not done with my degree, so I hope that I don't have to make a part 2 where I have to tell you that I actually failed my degree this time. So before I start, two things. First of all, I'm from Switzerland. My uni's in Switzerland. You can still learn from my mistakes. Yeah, that's why I don't think it really matters. And the second thing is I'm a bad storyteller. So let me just start off by telling you the facts. So I'm a social sciences major, and the way it works at my university is that you have your first year with people who major in economics and in business. So us three majors, we're basically doing the same first year. So I didn't really do much that was related to my major and had to do other things. In Switzerland, it's not that hard to get into uni. I mean, you need a specific qualification, and I'm not going to get into it. I'll link something down below about the Swiss educational system if you're interested. But basically, it's really easy to get into uni. You just sign up, that's it. And the thing is, they then try to, I don't want to say get rid of people, but that's basically it. I guess they're trying to lose the worst students. Yeah, this is why it's really common that you get banned from studying your major. If you fail a certain amount of classes or something like that, then you're banned from studying that subject in the whole country. So that is very common. That is something they do, yeah, just because there are too many people. And yeah, that's something to know. So that first year is kind of designed to do that. The thing is, with my major at my university, what they did is it's technically 1 year. You can take up to 5 semesters to finish that year, so to take all those classes that you're meant to take in that first year. You can actually fail 2 classes, but you have to compensate for them. I can show you the comparison between US grades and Swiss grades. I don't really agree with that because it would be very, very unlikely for someone to get an A. If an A is a 6 is our highest grade. It goes from 1 to 6, and we also have grades in between, like 5.5, 4.5, and so on. And with this scale, that means that it would be very unlikely for someone to get what Americans, I guess, called straight A's. I don't want to say it's impossible, but I personally don't know anyone that gets a 6 in every single exam. Usually there are only a few people per exam that get a 6. I think the majority is usually around a 4.5 or 5 actually. So just to give you an idea. What you need to know is that in order to pass an exam, you need a 4 or above. When I say that I failed an exam, that just means that I got something below a 4. So you can fail 2 classes, but you need to compensate for them. Usually you need an average of 4. If you need to compensate, you need a 4.25. Also, we don't have midterms, quizzes, things like that. We just have an exam at the end of the semester, so 1 exam per class. If you fail your exam, you can retake it once. I guess that's fair. So I hope you're ready for this story. I'm sorry it took me so long to explain everything. But basically what happened was I started uni. I was really stressed. I don't want to get into it, but I wasn't sure if the major was right for me. I had a very stressful summer, and I also had some medical issues. I had my period every other week, which was a bit concerning. So my first semester was not that great, not gonna lie. And when it came to studying for my exams, I actually decided that I didn't want to do this major anymore, but I still wanted to take some of the exams and thought I might just take this subject as my minor, or I was just not sure what I wanted to do. But I was still enrolled as a social sciences major for the whole first year. So what happened was I failed one of those exams I took after my first semester, which was Introduction to Economics. And it's not that I did horribly on that exam. Like I said, you need a 4 or something above, and I had a 3.5. That was unfortunate. Usually you can go in and look at your exam, ask questions, and I didn't do that, which, by the way, is something I never did until, well, this semester. So that was my biggest mistake. Something I would recommend doing is, if you have the chance to go and look at your exam, just make sure that they didn't make any mistakes. In the summer we were able to retake our exams, so I thought I would just retake it and probably pass, since, you know, I was so close to passing the first time. Something happened to my pets. I have tortoises. I can't really speak about it without crying, so I'm not going to do that. I had an exam the next day and one the day after that, and I got a doctor's note for that, because I wasn't ill, but just I could not take an exam after what had happened, and I got a doctor's note, and the people at my university were very understanding, and they also said if there are other exams you can't take, then just tell us, get a doctor's note for that as well, that's fine. That exam, the Intro to Economics exam that I failed the first time, was a few days later, but because that's just the way I am, I thought it would be silly to get another doctor's note, and I just thought to myself, you know what, just take the exam, just do it. That was another mistake. I remember sitting in a lecture hall. In the beginning they always say that if you don't feel well, then you should get up and leave now before the exam starts, because you can't do that once it starts. I was just sitting there, and I knew that I shouldn't take this exam, but I still did it. It's not a surprise that I failed it again, and this time horribly. At that time I also didn't think much of it, because I thought that I would change my major anyway. So then I changed my major, but I realized that that major also wasn't right for me, so I switched back to being a social sciences major. However, I was still not sure if that's what I actually wanted to do, but I kept taking classes. Then in that summer I realized that I actually wanted to keep that major, and that was the right major for me. So yeah, it took me a bit longer, but I realized that, you know, that's what I should be doing. By that time I'd already been a social sciences major for 3 semesters, and like I said, you need to take all those classes from the first year within 5 semesters. So I just had 1 year to complete those. That was last year, so that started in September 2019. In the beginning it was fine. I was a bit worried about statistics because a lot of people failed that. I didn't really think much about math. And with math and statistics, the thing was that you take one exam in January and then you take another one in June, and that's your final grade. So I was a bit worried about that. In my January exams I didn't do that well in my math exam, but otherwise I was happy with how I did in my exams. Last semester I had 2 classes that I knew would be difficult: Introduction to Microeconomics and Introduction to Macroeconomics. Because I had already failed one economics class, I was a bit worried that those 2 classes might be challenging. Also, I knew from other people that they struggled with those classes, so I was worried about that. You know, with the coronavirus and us changing everything to an online format, it was just really hard to keep up with everything. So then I had my June exams. So the weird thing was I failed my math exam, which I wasn't surprised by that, but yeah, I thought I did better than that. But again, I didn't go to check if everything's alright with my results, if they counted all the points correctly, things like that. I also failed my macroeconomics and microeconomics exams, which I kind of expected. I wasn't extremely upset about that because I thought, you know, first of all, it was deserved. I could have done more of the whole situation. It was a bit hard, but you know, it was deserved, and I had the whole summer to study, so I thought, you know, should turn out okay, should be fine. I had my exams in September, the last 2 weeks of summer break before the new semester starts. I had my math exam on a Friday afternoon, and because it was for the whole year, not just one semester, it was a 3-hour exam, which was extremely difficult. I didn't expect that much from it, honestly, because it was that difficult. Yeah. A few days later I have my macroeconomics and microeconomics exam on the same day. That was just amazing. Thank you. Also a funny story, I had those exams one day before my birthday. And this guy, he was walking around checking everyone's student IDs. And when he got to mine, he looked at it. And when he gave it back to me, he said, "Happy birthday." I'm not superstitious, but it's just bad luck. It's just bad luck. So I took that exam, my macroeconomics exam. That went okay, definitely better than my first try. Also, oh yeah, that's so important. Yeah, in June all of our exams were online, and in September we were able to take them in person, and that made such a difference. And then in the afternoon, well, it was like 2 hours later or something, yeah, not even, I had my microeconomics exam, and this one was also okay. I didn't feel that bad about it, to be honest. And then I just had to wait for my results.
16 paranoia-filled days later.
It actually took them more than 16 days. Keep in mind the new semester had already started, but I still didn't know if I could even continue with my studies, which was a bit stressful, not gonna lie. So I got my math results pretty quickly, I wanna say. Well, I think it took them at least 2 weeks, but yeah, I got the same grade that I got in my first try. So that was not that helpful, but that time I decided to sign up to go and look at my exam, and then I also got my microeconomics results after that, and I passed my macroeconomics class. I was very happy about that. So I was just waiting for my macroeconomics exam results. I failed that class, and I actually have some footage of me looking at those results, and you can just tell how devastated I was. It's actually funny if I look back on it.
Thousands of tears later.
That meant I had failed 3 classes, but I was only allowed to fail 2. With my macroeconomics grade, the thing was, it was a 3.5. So again, I had to get a 4 or above. I hoped that they had made some kind of mistake, so I also signed up to go and look at my exam. But I had to wait a whole week to do that. So that was also stressful. Like I said, I signed up to look at my math exam results. I didn't find that much. They forgot to count 2 points, but that didn't help my grade. That grade stayed the same. A few days later, I went to look at my macroeconomics exam results, and I was prepared. Like, I was ready to shed some fake, or you know, let's be honest, the real tears. I was ready to argue. You don't even know how stressed I was. I was ready to give them whatever they wanted. If they wanted my kidney, my firstborn child, I was so desperate because that meant everything to me. So I go in ready to fight. The first thing I do is I ask, how many points do I need to get a 4? And that guy told me I needed 28 points. I take my exam and I start counting the points, right? Just to make sure that everything's okay. So I count those points, right? And yeah, I had 31 points as far as I could tell. And you had to get at least 28 to pass, and I had 31. So what was up with that? So the way they did it, they had like questions, let's just say question 6, and then you have part 1 and part 2 of that question. So they give you the points there, and then on the side they write the total. For one part I got 1 point, and for the other one I got 5 points. So they wrote 6 points next to that question. However, the person who did that had a terrible handwriting. It looked like a 0. And that's honestly, I looked at the question and I immediately saw what the problem was. That's what happened, obviously, to me, obviously. And the person who then counted everything didn't really look properly, just looked at what was written on the side of the questions, and yeah, forgot to count 6 points. That was so bizarre to me. So I go up to that guy, and I mean, it wasn't his fault. I was just there to make sure that we didn't take pictures of the exams, and to just, if we had any problems, to write an email to the responsible person or whatever. Yeah, so I tell him what I think had happened, and I do it very calmly, like nice and understanding. But on the inside, I was quite angry. He also said that it looked like that was the case, and that he was going to write an email and that my grade would be changed. So that meant that I had passed that class and therefore passed that first year. Yeah, that was amazing, but showed me that you can trust anyone if you have the opportunity to go in and to have a look at your exam, to make sure they counted everything, they corrected everything the way they're supposed to. Do that. And the other thing is also, you don't have to be strong if something happens, not just if you're ill, if something happens that messes you up and you could get a doctor's note, then do that. Please, if you're not feeling well for whatever reason, don't take the exam. By the way, I love my university. I'm not trying to start some drama or something like that. This is something that could happen anywhere. That's just why I wanted to share this with you. Yeah, that was my story. I hope that you learned something from it, that you learned from my mistakes, and that it was somewhat entertaining. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, it would really make my day if you did that. See you in my next video. Bye!